Have you ever gone through a traumatic experience and you feel like you just had no one to talk to about it? That's why I made my podcast, Filthy Laundry, out now on Spotify and Apple. Come on my podcast. I want to hear your filthy stories.
That's pretty much everywhere. But you want to tell you something amazing about Michigan when you come out here from Kentucky?
What's up?
I don't know if you partake in any of the herbal stuff, but the dispensaries here are amazing. You can get an ounce for $30 and a disposable 95% vape for $12. 1 gram.
And that's what's funny. That's exactly why I'm coming out there.
Yes, okay, bring your ID. Oh, here's another thing I'll give you some insight on. Is almost every single dispensary, 99% of them will give you like a $20 credit your first time visiting them. And so when you go into your first dispensary, you tell them, hey, this is my first time. They're probably going to give you a bunch of edibles or even like pre-rolls for free. So basically you could just ride around to all the dispensaries in town and get free pre-rolls and edibles the entire time you're here. It's amazing.
Sounds like it's going to be a good trip to Michigan because I was going there just for that and then do a podcast with my homeboy.
Yeah.
And then head home afterwards. But chances are I'm probably going to just leave it behind because knowing my luck, I mess around and get pulled over.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that. You don't want to get caught in Kentucky with that shit.
Like,
you know,
yeah,
they're like,
it's not criminalized anymore in Kentucky. Kentucky is really close to legalizing weed, real close.
Most states are. Hopefully it'll happen soon. But yeah, it is so cheap out here because like, a lot of states when you started do a dispensary or a grow shop, like a grow farm, it's like a lottery system and you have to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars and then you aren't guaranteed a spot or your money back if you don't get it. And in Michigan, it's $15,000 to start a dispensary or to get a license for a dispensary or to start a farm. And so what happens is now, because of how inexpensive it is to get the license compared to other places, you have a lot of people coming here. And so like in my town alone in Kalamazoo, there's probably freaking 60 different dispensaries, right? So like you could literally ride around all day if you're from out of town and get enough weed to last you a week, just going to a few stores. And it's phenomenal. It's so cheap out here. Like I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I am most definitely going to have to slide out there.
There's this one place where I'm at called GLH. I don't know if they're where else they're located, but there's a GLH near you. They got the best deals. Like you can get an infused pre-roll that's like 50% potency for like $3.
That sounds like heaven. Here in Kentucky, that's all we got is CBD weed mixed with Delta oil, and that's it.
Yeah, man. When you come out here, it's going to be like a freaking wonderland. You're going to be like a kid in a freaking candy factory. When you go into these dispensaries, they look like GameStops on the inside. And they're so fun. But yeah, every time I go in, I'll be like, I just coming in for an ounce. It's like $30. And then next thing you know, I'm buying like freaking disposable vape carts, 10 bags of edibles. Because they charge like a 200 milligram bag of edibles is $3 at most stores. So like you can literally go into a store, spend $3 and be, you're good. You're good for a few hours for sure.
Yeah, because when you really think about it, they really making their money back because it does not cost much to make weed at all.
No, and I actually I work for the farms as well. So I've been in like all the way up to quality control, from freaking 10 hours a day stuffing joints or, packaging eighths or trimming, bucking, whatever. So I've done it all. And, it really doesn't cost much. And a lot of the factories around here, they don't care about quality, to be honest. All they care about is making money. So they're just trying to produce as much as they can, as quickly as they can. And when I go into these, these factories to do where they have the indoor, because most of it's all grown indoors. And so when you go in these indoor factories, like imagine something the size of a Walmart, but with black and yellow totes as far as the eye can see, full of weed. And it's crazy.
Oh man,
like I guarantee you, I've probably seen more weed in one day than you have your entire life when I going into one of these farms, indoor grow facilities. They're literally insane. Like I said, imagine black and yellow totes stacked nearly to the ceiling, freaking 8 rows deep, 30 rows wide, literally filled to the top. So when I would go, my job might be one day would be like trimming, and so we would grab a black and yellow tote, set it beside us, pull out the flower, and trim off the leaves, put it in a separate pile, right? And so you'd spend 10 hours a day doing that. So it is very cheap because there's so much of it here.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's making me crave one right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm hitting my vape right now as we're on this, and I was just left my bathroom because that's where I keep all my shit. But like I said, when you come out here, I'm telling you, man, you'll see ounces for like $30-$40, and it's like, you know, just as good as the stuff you're paying $200-$300 an ounce for in Kentucky. Honestly, 90% of those people you're buying from plugs out there are going to Michigan and other legal states and just buying it there and bringing it back.
Yeah, because the thing that's crazy is like there's a dude here in Kentucky who's growing weed in bluegrass Kentucky, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the soil and the grass. I might sound like I'm tripping, but growing weed on bluegrass, it makes somewhat of a difference. I don't know how to explain it, but there's a difference, and you can taste it, you can feel it. There's a big difference.
Well, yeah. So like the big thing with growing, and I have tons of photos and videos of stuff I've grown myself. I've done indoor, outdoor, hydroponic, aquaponics. I've done all kinds of grows. And, you know, depending on where you are in the United States, kind of depends on the richness of the soil. And the thing about Kentucky compared to other areas is that you have, you know, high alkaline water coming from the mountains and the things, you know, around Kentucky. And then you have that soil that comes from, you know, those mountains that over millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years have come from the mountains down to the valley, you know. And so you're getting a lot of this nutrient rich soil that has been that's high alkaline, and really plants, you know, love it. The thing about weed though is like it'll grow in anything because it is a weed, but you know, the better quality of the nutrients, the better quality of the product. And so like when I grew in dirt, I would say that made my biggest plant. However, my strongest plant was aquaponics,
Okay.
which was grown in buckets of water where I added the nutrients. But it wasn't as big as my dirt plant. However, it was way stronger. But one thing about aquaponics that's really the thing is, first you got to learn how to, you know, keep the bucket at the right temperature, you know, make sure the water pH level is right. And then the thing is, like one time I was way too high when I was giving it nutrients, and I put in 4 tablespoons instead of 4 teaspoons, and went to bed and woke up the next day and the whole plant was dead. so if I would have realized, you know, that or sooner, I could have drained the water and it would have been fine. But unlike dirt, though, you know, that's not going to happen in dirt unless you dump oil in, or something like that's going to kill it right on the plant. Like with dirt, you have a little bit of, you know, leeway, you know, to save your plant if something were to happen. But I'm going to tell you, man, I left that plant in the bucket and let it dry out and just sit there beside my grow area for 2 years because it was a reminder, and it made me so sad. I about cried when I saw the plant. It was so beautiful, and all the leaves fell off overnight and it died.
I would have been sick. I would have been sick. But that was the cannabis portion. You ready? You ready to get into it, man?
Yeah, man. Sorry, I'll talk about anything. What do you want to talk about?
Well, first, let me just say hello, gentlemen and ladies, and theys and thems. I have another special guest, Ali.
Hello.
And one of the first things I wanted to ask you, because I was super curious, was what made you come up with your TikTok name or like choose it? Because I love it.
Yeah. So honestly, I used to go by my real name, which, you know, my first name is Ali. Obviously it's Ali, by the way, not OLLIE, ALI. And so I have an Arabic last name as well. And so before I used to go by my real name, but basically people would just say, it's a terrorist, or are you an Al Qaeda? And really wouldn't listen to what I had to say, even when it made sense, because they were too focused on my Arabic name. And so what I did was I reflected. I asked myself, you know, what best describes my account? And that's how I came up with this name.
And like I said, it's a great name. I argue with boomers. That is a funny name. At the same time, it catches attention.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted something that described my account, and I spend a lot of time arguing. So basically, my account is one of two things. I'm arguing with boomers or trying to bait them out. not even just boomers, like conservatives and traditionalists, people like that. I'm just trying to like with my content, I'm either trying to bait them out or argue with them. So
No, and I feel that. I feel that. And one thing I noticed, whenever you go on live, you do a lot of graphic design. Is that something you actually do and like you're trying to do and continue to do, or is that just something like free time?
yeah, so I've actually been doing graphic design since Photoshop 7 when I was 14.
Whew.
I am 33 now. And so I do that as a hobby. I've made posters for movie companies, not companies, as like a studio. I've made movie posters. I even have a script on IMDb. I just do a little bit of everything. And, you know, my lives, graphic design on my lives has actually been something really recent. Uh, I've done a few different lives. I have lives that will get 50,000 likes, and, you know, I got 300 followers from a single live in 2 hours. Um, but those lives get me banned a lot, so I don't do those. And so basically, I'll like have up a background that says, "I'd rather live by somebody with these two flags," and it's like the BLM flag and a LGBTQ plus flag, than anybody with these flags, and then it's like a Trump flag, a Nazi flag, and a conservative or a Confederate flag. And so then I'll just be on the live being like, every time you like it, these people whine. They hate that you agree with this. And then like they'll be in the comments, like the conservatives be like, fuck you, snowflake. I don't give a shit. We're not whining. Go fuck yourself. And then like people are like spamming gifts and hearts and so then I got like 300 followers. And that every time I do it, I get at least 200 to 300 followers and, you know, at least 50,000 likes. But like I said, then I get banned for like a week from live, and then all these people go to my page and start reporting all of my videos because they're pissed off. And so like occasionally I'll have to mark my account private for like a couple days so they'll get bored and leave.
Nah, I feel that. Because like looking at your TikTok, like you have the most followers out of anybody I've talked to on TikTok. Like, how did that come about?
Honestly, just shit posting, to be honest with you. And you know, it's actually just a gimmick, and it's really a trap, to be honest, because they're they're always gatekeeping you, and there's always going to be another ladder to climb or another objective to unlock. So I don't know how many followers. I think you had like 1,200 maybe, and I think it was like once you get to 1,000, you can go live, and then it's like once you get 5,000, you could do live studio and do work with artists. And I think that allows you to do like song music, like lip sync their videos and shit, and they'll pay you. And then at 10,000 followers, you can access the marketplace and request samples and get paid to make videos and get commission.
Okay.
And then you get like the creator beta, which allows you to get paid for your videos. But to be honest, the most I've ever gotten paid on a single video was like 11 cents, and it was a lip syncing video.
Wow.
And then they always kick me out of it because if you share stuff to your stories, they'll kick you out for unoriginal content. Now, that being said, I have friends with 200,000 followers, 500,000 followers, 1,000,000 followers. And the thing is, even at their level, there's still stuff just like that, where it's like, get 1.5 million, get 250,000, and you can do this. And it's just really like, it's like a GoFundMe roadmap with their creators almost, where it's like, once you get this many followers, you unlock this, and when you get this. And so it doesn't really matter how many followers you get. There's always going to be, you know, some other finish line or some other goalpost they move in front of you. But how I did it was really just shit posting, to be honest with you. Say really opinionated things that make people feel, and then they'll follow you because they agree with you, or they'll go nuts in your comments calling you an asshole if they don't. So
Yeah. It's like I started the whole TikTok thing during COVID. I'm one of them where like I started posting a whole bunch of stuff, and like it was like funny. Like my first post was like I think it was something with like a woman. I played a woman, and then the dude's like, "You on birth control, right?" And she's like, "No." And then it had those multiple faces.
yeah,
And then I just had all white on, and it looked like, you know, the sperm going into the woman. Like that was my first post, and pretty much I gained a good chunk of followers. But
yeah.
like I'm still at 1,000. Like I work to get 1,000 just so I could do live, but I still haven't done live because I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do when I get on live.
Yeah, and so that's I think a lot of people's problem when they get on live. They just feel awkward, or They don't know what to do. And so there's kind of like what I've noticed from all the types of lives I've done. And like the thing about the live that I do that gets so many likes and followers and views and whatever, besides just, getting a lot of hate and flack for it from haters, it's also exhausting because I put so much energy into it, because I'm like, thank you for the gifts, thank you for joining, nonstop. And then so like the big thing about lives is there's kind of really two things you can do on them so to be successful. The first thing is either pretend like the live isn't even there. Just do what you're gonna do anyways, and the live's in the background, right? And so people will join and like, what are you doing? I'm working on graphic design. And like the thing is, those lives will get like 10,000 likes when I'm doing them. And it may not look like a very successful live, but a lot of times when I end them, I get $10 or $20 in gifts from people that are my friends that just join it and they like me and they have the extra money, right? So that's you just do your own thing, and the live's just like a silent observer that you react to, right? Yeah. And then the other option is you have to create a way on the live to engage people, to get people to engage your live. And so when you see lives like, rating your PFP based on your profile, or telling you how hot you are based on your PFP, or guessing your job based on your PFP, those are really good types of lives to start with, because it'll get lots of engagement. People will be like, okay, guess, what's my job, And then so that gives people a way to engage your live and to give them a way to interact with it. And so if you want just a really easy live to do, like to start out with, that will be very successful, is literally just get a background, put it up that says guessing your job based on your profile picture. And you will literally get thousands of people in the live within 5 minutes saying, guess me, guess me, guess me. And the chat will be so fast you can't even keep up. And so when you start those types of lives, an easy way to build up a lot of traction is like, thank people for joining as you see them join, So it's like, thank you for joining, Steve. Thank you for joining, Jeff. Thank you for joining, Toaster Fucker. Thank you for joining, Llama Plate. Thank you for joining. And you just do that over and over again. And a lot of those people will keep scrolling, but some of them will be like, hey, thanks. And then that gets the chat going, And then it'd be like, oh, thank you for chatting. Oh, thank you for liking, just thank them for literally every single thing they do. And you'll get people, what'll happen is some people won't care, but others will be like, I need that. And so they'll start tapping your live like crazy, and they'll start commenting like crazy, and they'll start sharing like crazy because they want you to engage with them. And so that would be the other way. And so those are kind of the two ways I found that were the most successful. I would say that the one with me, like freaking just harassing people, conservatives, they make me the most money. Like I'll get off of one of those lives with $50 after 2 hours, right? But then I'll have 87 account warnings the next day and half my removed. And so then it's like, is the $50 and all of the exhaustion worth it? No, not really. It's like I have 6 account strikes right now.
Oh, that's a lot with TikTok. TikTok is a fun place. It can be a fun place, but at the same time, it could be kind of annoying and kind of
and I've been around on it since 2018 or 19. Actually, I was on it when it was called music.ly. It wasn't even it was a singing app, right? And so then they changed the name and changed everything about it to like they repositioned themselves, They said, hey, look, this is working, let's keep doing it. And so they completely changed from a music app to a like a Vine ripoff. Which, how dumb was fucking Facebook for shutting down Vine, thinking they could push people onto Instagram reels. But anyway, so like there's things on TikTok like you can say fuck, you can say curse, you can do all that shit and stuff. It's just like the big thing is they follow like the PG-13 like satanic panic rules, so you can cuss, you can say sexual things, you can do somewhat violent things, but once you break that PG-13 level, that's when they're going to start like coming down on you. If it's overly sexual or overly violent, they're going to come down on you. Like if you reply to someone's video going, fuck you, bitch, they're going to take it down. If you reply to someone's video being like, wow, that's crazy as fuck, they're not going to take that down. If you like, I just have a video where somebody was like dragging my marriage, and I'm like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to, fuck face? And the video's still up, right? I have another video that's 4 minutes long of me just saying the F word over and over again that's posted 3 years ago, and it's still up, right? So they'll let you get away with a lot of stuff. It's just kind of like knowing like if you be overly sexual or overly violent, that's when they're gonna get you. But like, I don't know if you've seen any of my recent videos, um, but like I make filters and effects too, right? And so I just recently made one called the Golden Hip Sword, and it's literally just a giant golden dick, right? Like
Yeah,
literal,
because
and like it's still up. You want to hear some other bullshit? I have the spilled milk filter I made.
yeah,
That got 3 million views. My video got 116,000 views. There's some accounts with over 5 million followers using it. And then they took that down. They took that down. Spilled milk. And then there's this video this guy posted where he spilled milk on his face. It looks identical. So my spilled milk filter down. Like golden dick, my unicorn dildo, the dildo on your forehead. Nope, all up. Perfectly fine, right? Okay. But spilled milk, no way. That's too much.
the spilled milk one, I seen that one and I died. I was just like, this is wild. This
Yeah.
is really wild.
Wait till you see the golden dick ones. You're gonna have your mind blown that those are still up and the spilled milk was taken down. And it was like, what's BS about that too is like, so when you make effects on TikTok, you can make money too. There's like a creator fund for you as well. But in order to be in the creator fund, you just like the 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers, they have guidelines, and so you have to have a video effect with at least that has at least 1,000 videos made from your effect, and you have to post at least 25 effects, which really isn't that hard, right? But my spilled milk filter had like 10,000 videos, but they took it down, so I don't get so I don't get the badge, so
Yeah.
I can't join the creator fund.
Are you gonna try to do it again?
Yeah, so I just keep posting nonstop effects, hoping another one will go viral. And I get a lot of like right now, like here I'm gonna pull up Effect House and look and tell you. Like my stats are really good. Like they're not bad. It says I'm in the top 5% of Effect House creators. In the last month, I have 211,882 views, and total views since I started making effects in 2 months is 3,239,953.
Jesus.
So I have 157,000 shares, 86,000 opens, 2,000 posts. That doesn't count the the spilled milk. They took down that, and 343,000 likes. But spilled milk, it won't even tell me what it was. I don't think. Let me see. I'm gonna see if it'll tell me. So before they took down spilled milk, where's it at? I don't think they're gonna let me. Yeah, they won't even show me the stats. They remove the stats on the individual thing, so I can't. I wonder if I click it. Oh, it'll show me if I click it. Okay, so this one actually had 2,992,000 views. 1,100. Let me see. I'm trying to read it here. Okay, posts had 11,860, likes 325,253, opens 24,000, and shares 154,000. And that's when they said, okay, we're done. You aren't gonna count any more stats towards this. And so like it's been doing really good actually, and so I just keep making everything. Like I just made a whole bunch of things called little swimmer effects, which as you can imagine is exactly what you think. It's exactly what you think. It's so one is like two antennas. It's called little swimmer antennas. Then there's a little swimmer hat, and then there's a little swimmer like creature that's like a Pokemon, and then a little swimmer mask that you can wear. And they haven't been taken down. Spilled milk can't be up, even though it looks just like spilled milk on your face. And then someone else made a video where they dropped a spoon in their bowl, and they're like, "Oh, when you drop your spoon in your bowl of milk," and I was like, "See, exactly." But they're like, "No," but like all these penis and semen jokes, they're perfectly cool.
Sound like TikTok doing things ass backwards, but you know what? If it works, it works.
Here, this is what I think they should do. I think they should just make it 18 plus, or not 18 plus, not TikTok, but let you set your profile to 18 plus, right? Then they can just stop worrying about all the reports, right? Because if it's 18 plus, then most of the content would be fine if you could set your profile to that, right? And I'm okay with only 18-year-olds or older seeing my profile, like that's fine, right? If that means I get reported less, like cool,
Yeah.
right? But nah, they don't care.
Oh, and one thing that was on my mind that I was thinking about, and I had to make myself remember, is you brought up IMDb. But when I was looking more things, you know what else popped up with your name?
What's that?
Your book, The
Oh
Boy
yeah,
with the
I'm
Thousand
a
Masks.
published author. I have a book. I've done a lot of stuff. I was a vice president of student government. I was student life and leadership coordinator for a college. I've marched for domestic violence called it's called a mile in her shoes, and I walked a mile in high heels for domestic
Oh,
violence. Like I've done a lot of stuff, but yeah, I have a children's book, and I'm working on another book right now that I have to get published. And I'm just procrastinating like all authors, and they're like, "When is it going to be done?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
yeah. So I got two questions off that is
Yeah.
how did you come up with the book, the first book you have, and what is the second book? You ain't got to share it, but what's
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
second book going to
So
be?
first question is The Boy with a Thousand Masks is about masking. Growing up as a kid in foster care and in the system for, involved with the system for like a decade of my life, you learn you have to mask a lot of times because people don't give a shit about you or your problems. So the book's about masking and, how, masking isn't really necessarily always healthy. Uh, but presented in a way for children. And then my second book that I'm working on is a poetry book called The Darkest Pit. And that's also the name of the main poem, the first poem in the book. And then the book uh, just is poetry. It's kind of darker. It's geared towards grown-ups, not children. And it's just poetry that you might read when you're in a dark place, or you might write yourself or think, or express. It might be a way you feel when you're in a dark place. And so like I could pull up one of those.
Okay.
Da, 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 and then to kind of give you like a set a tone type of thing here, to get an idea. Pull this up. My computer right now. I don't care. Get out of here with this crap. Um, Find a short one because some of these are really long. Uh, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. So like here's a short one. It's like I don't like to share. It's hard to be open. When I let people in, I'm the one who ends up broken.
Short but very
Yep.
powerful, and
Yep.
I feel that I'm not gonna lie, I needed that. That was a nice listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like there's a lot. I have a lot of different ones, and they all kind of have that type of tone, which is like here's one that's like I hate dreams, I hate sleep, I hate everything that makes my mind think. I can't breathe, I can't leave. Time is a joke. This is life. It can't be. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When your second book comes out, let me know because
Yeah, so like right now I'm at I have to do 80 pages. I'm currently at 22. I'm a big procrastinator. But like so far there's 22 currently in here. The main one, the big one, I'll read if you want to hear. It's a little longer. It's called The Darkest Pit. And
all
this
right.
one I wrote in the middle of an anxiety fueled panic attack. And during it, my mind was all over the place. And I was, I was, like I said, manic. And I was in the middle of a panic attack. And I said, I want to give this physical embodiment. I want to write, like, if I could describe how this physically felt, what would it be? And this is how I came up with this. Okay, here we go. It's a pit that rests deep in your core that reminds you of how insignificant you are, lingering, festering, and continuing to grow, reaching its dirty little claws around your throat, lungs collapsing, grasping, fighting for air, denying the feelings of being scared, deep breaths, slow breaths, questioning why nothing you do seems quite right. The thoughts are irrational, unrealistic, and drag you down. That doesn't change that they are around. Continuing to grow, it reaches your soul. It demands your presence, heart, and goals. It attempts to define you and your being, leaving a shell, a void of empty meaning. So tired, so sick, you wish you were dead, trying to climb out and empty your head. What do you do? What do you say when you're just trying to make it through another day? These thoughts are chained to your soul, shackles as tight as the day is old. And that's the main poem from the book.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I see exactly what Sierra sees in you. That's great because you're hitting spots that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but they feel it.
Yeah, I try to say a lot of the things that people want to say and are too afraid to. That's big thing about my channel too, is I try to give people, when people don't have a voice, like I have this whole series right now going on called Deadbeat Dad, where I'm just fucking lambasting and roasting the shit out of these deadbeats. And I've gotten people like messaging me nonstop, like, you don't know my side of the story. I haven't paid her child support in 8 years because she refuses to follow the rules I set. And I was like, get the fuck out of my inbox. Like literally, I had somebody who was like, I haven't paid her child support in 8 years because she refuses to follow my rules. Like, bitch, that doesn't make you sound better.
It makes you sound worse, man.
Like, and so like I have all these deadbeat dads in my DMs right now. Like I started like one of my friends, because I've been like telling it from the side of like the moms, and then I had a friend who is like has a deadbeat dad, and he was telling me, and so then I started doing deadbeat dads from like a kid's perspective, and then like I had somebody message me like, hey, it was one thing when you were making fun of us, on behalf of my our ex-wives, but now that you're doing it from our children, I ain't gonna have it. Like, they're like, that's enough. Enough's enough.
I'm not gonna lie. Sounds like he gonna cry in the car. That sounds like some stuff.
Yeah,
He's gonna send that message, and as soon as he finish, go back to his bedroom, cry in the little corner. They're like,
literally.
because
My
that's
wife,
one thing I don't fuck with deadbeat dads. Like, you ain't gonna be there for your child. That's fucked.
yeah, right. And so like Fatima, that's my wife. She was reading like the message in my inbox, so I had opened it, and she's like, "What the fuck? Does he think you're talking about him? Like, why did he message you that?" Like, and then I had this other guy. He uh he commented the other day saying that, because I was like, hey, like, so somebody was like roasting me or something, was like giving me shit about my marriage. And then I was like, I've been married over 10 years, dumbass. Or I was like, hey, fuckface, I've been married over 10 years. This video is up. I'm like, hey, fuckface, I've been married over 10 years. How about you take your single ass, whatever. I can't remember exactly what I said, but some of that nature. And then somebody else comments, and he's like, big deal. I've been married over 10 years twice.
Huh?
he's like,
Ooh.
you're still a snowflake. If you could do at least 10 push-ups, I'd fuck my dog. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Sound like
And
he.
that's literally a comment on one of my videos right now.
Sound like that man just wanted a reason to fuck his dog. That's
Yeah.
wild.
I was like, somebody called the police. What the fuck? Like, what kind of comment is that?
Oh man.
He's like, if you could even do 10 push-ups, I'd fuck my dog. And I'm like, what in the fuck?
You know, this is gonna go off into the another question I have for you. But it seems like one thing talk to you, because you and Sierra, y'all do a lot of things on TikTok, but it seems like y'all get a lot of hate from the same sex. Like,
Yeah.
she gets a lot of hate from women, you get a lot of hate from men, which is wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sierra be posting crazy ass shit though. She'd be like, I fucked your man in the backseat of the car while you were at work. So it's like, like she tried to piss people off for real, for real. And it's like I do also try to piss people off, but like it's like I'm calling out deadbeats, and then they're like getting pissed. I do have a video though that's on, like, after watching a few Sierra, and I was talking to Sierra. I was like, hey, I'm about to go through my Sierra phase, and like I got some really pissed off people because I was posting thirst traps a while ago, harassing Trump supporters. So like I have one where I'm like fucking my phone, and I'll send you some of these videos I'm talking about. So like I'll have one where I'm like I'm like, it's like set from the waist up, and you see my top half, and like I have the phone, like as if it's like a girl in the missionary position, and so like I'm like just humping the phone. It's very
Yes.
cute what I'm doing. And then I'm like, POV, you're at a Trump supporter's house, so it doesn't count as cheating.
I've seen that one. I've seen that one because Sierra stitched that the
Yeah.
sheep.
So they were getting really pissed. They're like, hey, motherfucker, I see you at my house. You're going to catch a fucking gun to the face. Like they were pissed. They were not having it. And so it's like, that was the closest I got to my, copying Sierra. And people were fucking fuming. And it's like they get so mad. And like half those baby daddy videos are my friends like, hey, can you make one about my baby daddy? Here's a rough story. And then I'm like, bet. And then I'll make my own version of it.
My God.
Like, and it's crazy. It's crazy how many people are like relatable to these crazy stories that I tell. And like, 2 years ago, I was posted crazy stuff, like just as crazy of stories. Like I have ones where I was talking about my grandpa because he's basically like a freaking he's a Frank Gallagher. If you're familiar with the show Shameless,
Yeah.
my grandpa was a Frank Gallagher, and so I had stories I would just tell like about my grandpa, talking about how, you know, one of the stories was like how he had a garbage disposal business, but then the landfill started charging him $3 a load, and he got pissed off. That was like cutting into his bottom line, and so he just started dumping it on the ground. And the craziest thing is he never got caught for any of it, and it kind of just shows you, you have to cut a few corners in the world to make a buck.
Yeah.
And so my story I tell is much more crazy, and I act really nuts. But like my content, I have no niche. I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm just chasing a high, And
Not
ultimately, I just try to troll people, but I try to use my shit posting and trolling to troll assholes and shitbags. Like I figure, like if I'm gonna do it, at least why attack marginalized or people that just can't, that are already going through enough. I'll just go after the shitbags that deserve it, right?
honestly.
So, no, I don't punch down. I don't like to punch down. I like George Carlin, if you're familiar with that. My favorite comedians of all time.
Oh man. Um like I'm not gonna lie, I love this. But that's one thing. This whole thing right now that we're doing is a trickle effect. Um so I'm not for sure if you recently talked to Sierra and like how me and her met, but I was on TikTok and I was starting doing the podcast thing. Then she followed me. The next thing I know is I reach out to her, podcast. And the next thing I know is when I post, you followed me and then podcast. So I guess my question to you is what happened to get you? Because like I said, if it wasn't for Sierra, I wouldn't be able to have you on this podcast now. So how did y'all like get together, do a podcast, and get everything done?
Yeah, so when I met Sierra, I didn't even know anything about her podcast, which is crazy because her channel was called Filthy Laundry Podcast. So I had no clue she even actually had a podcast, to be honest with you. I just started following her because she talked about foster kid stuff, and I was a foster kid. And then me and her got talking about foster kid stuff. And then she's like, I have a podcast. She's like, do you want to be on it? And I was like, bet. And then I rambled like I'm doing now about nothing she wanted to talk about, but but she was vested. I forgot to talk about all of my trauma, but we had a good time, and then we hung out, and that's kind of how that happened. And then when she posted your video, I was like, this is my friend. I was like, cool. And then I followed you, just and so that's what I do. I try to support my friends and their friends, and try to build a community of good people. And so you see, I went to your channel, I saw a few videos, like, okay, he's a cool guy, and then I gave you a follow. Now, if I would have went to your channel and it was a bunch of dumb stuff, probably not. But I try to give a lot of people a chance. I don't generally close the door. I've been blocked more times than you can imagine. But it is what it is.
Yeah, because the thing is, when you followed me, like out of everybody that followed me from Sierra's channel, you're like one of like the three I followed back because I was like, there's something different about this page. And once it started flooding in, I start seeing stuff, and I'm like, I see why she follows him. This man is hilarious. And at the same time, because I'm not sure if I ever pop up, but I'll sometimes whenever you do a live, if I'm up and like about, because I was on TikTok a lot, but now I'm kind of just like on and off. But whenever
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
pop in, I might pop in the live and I see what you're doing. I'm like, oh, he's graphic designing. Because there was
Yeah,
one he was doing.
the
I can't
AI
remember
art,
what the what.
AI art probably.
I think so because I remember it was like a black. I know it was a black background and like there was like a red circle and then you was talking. I think you had to walk away for a second and like you
Yeah,
was gone for a minute and I was like, all right, I didn't take my ass to bed.
yeah, I hear that. Yeah, probably like AI art or something. That's usually what I'm doing when I'm doing graphics. Sometimes I'll be on there showing people how to make effects, and how I build the effects I build. using like Blender and Effect House and Photoshop and all of that. And I kind of took that approach only because the other tech ones are so freaking wild. Like the chats, like I said, they look like an instant messenger, like group chat room, from like the AOL days. I don't know how old you are if you were on any of those chat rooms, but like the chats, what I do, my crazy lives are just so like over the top, and it's so much. And I'm like, I just want to chill and relax, not flame a bunch of people and then you have to freaking appeal 1,000 videos when I wake up the next day.
I feel it. I feel if it helps you. I'm a LimeWire kid, as in I didn't do the message, but I made a lot of CDs and sold them in
Yeah,
elementary.
yeah. How old are you, if you don't mind me
Oh,
asking?
me, I'm 26 going on 27, so not
Oh,
that
exciting.
much. Yeah, you're the same age as like my older brother,
Yeah,
and like to throw you off, I'm number 7 out of 9.
that's insane. I have 2 kids. I will never have another one. I have 3 siblings. I'm 33. So yeah, definitely not too far off. And I do remember LimeWire. I do remember when LimeWire went away, and then everybody used FrostWire.
Ew. Oh, that was disgusting.
I was on B the day 4chan and B the day it was created. I remember I would go on 4chan specifically for cringe threads, and I would spend hours of my day looking at cringe threads, and that's how memes and all that stuff.
Yep.
You're a little bit older. People are always like, "How did people watch videos before YouTube?" We went to the website. That's how we went to mtv.com and watched music videos. Right? That's how we did it. We went to forum boards. That's how we shared memes. People on like forum boards like Reddit and 4chan and
Oh yeah.
whatnot. And so I would just get on there looking at cringe threads all day long. And so like I even have videos where I have fox ears, and then another one where I have like these black eyes, and I'm saying like I'm the demon lord, and it's like beyond, it's like the cringiest stuff I have. I have a playlist called Fox Boy, and it's literally me just being like saying I'm Sigma and gonna steal your girlfriend. With fox ears. It was she used to be yours, then she met the Fox King, and then it cuts to me like slashing my hands with fox ears. and or like it's like another one's like, "Hello, princess, it's me, the demon lord." It's like, if you ever feel unsafe in public, just play this sound. Get away from my kitten or else. And I have like these black eyes. It's like a filter with black eyes. And then
Oh
and then
man.
people are like, "I feel so safe now, thank you."
See, for chin, I was too young to be on it, but I was still doing it. But 4chan and YouTube were my go-to when I was like
Yeah.
younger. So I understand. It was hilarious. It was
See,
funny.
4chan used to be a bunch of shit posters and comedians just trying to have fun and escape reality. And nowadays, it's just a bunch of racist and QAnon idiots.
Yeah, I haven't been on 4chan probably since like
Listen,
honestly 2012.
really, I check it a couple years. Like I haven't been on 4chan in probably 2 to 3 years, but every time I get back on, I'm quickly reminded why I got off. Like I only go to B, which is random, is the thread, and it's like there's no good cringe threads anymore. It's just like them harassing their exes and saying racist stuff, and it's like, come on, what happened to the good old days? I sound like a boomer now.
No, and you know what? I can't wait until I hit 50 and 60 and be like, back in my day, we had 4chan and LimeWire, YouTube. I can't wait for it to tell my grandkids or whoever. I just want to be that old fuck just to bring up old shit.
Yeah, for real. Like that's how it's gonna be. But I feel like as millennials, we'll be much cooler. Because like I think like one of the biggest differences between millennials and boomers and Gen X and some of the other generations older than us, specifically boomers, is like boomers feel like that struggle is a rite of passage, right? They feel like you getting molested and going through all this bullshit is a rite of passage, right? We had to go through it. You should too, you know? And it's like millennials are like, yeah, fuck all of that. No, we're going to build a bridge over it. You guys don't have to go through it. I want you guys to have a better life. That's why I do all I do. So my kids can have a better life, right?
Oh yeah,
Not
hell yeah.
not like these old fucks that are like, well, I had to go through it. You should too. Like, get the hell out of here. That sounds so dumb. It's like, so you're just going to give all your money away to the rich people, right? Not to your family or your kids. You just think like I had to struggle. You should struggle. You didn't struggle. You bought a house for $500 and a note from your pastor saying you're a good person. Like, get the hell out of here. The credit reporting system wasn't even invented until 1990, and it's ran by private organizations. And they're like, oh, shut up. And it's like you guys wrote post-dated checks. Like, that's what they did before credit cards. Have you ever heard of a post-dated check? This was a thing that was allowed.
I did not know that was a thing.
So here's the thing. So before credit cards existed, you could do a thing called a post-dated check. And you still technically claim, but nobody's going to accept it. And so what that means is you would put the check for a future date. So you would pay somebody for, let's say, a Nintendo 64 at EB Games, and you could write them a check for 2 weeks later. And they would give you the fucking 64 and let you walk away and cash the check 2 weeks later. That ain't happening no more.
Shit, I wish it was though.
So that's the shit boomers could do, complete BS crap. Like they're fucking in delusional Delulu world, And it's like every time you tell them something, they're like, "Wow, I didn't know that is happening." But I don't know. I'll rant about anything, to be honest. No, I don't even know where this started.
See, I'm like in that weird I'm like between Gen Z and millennials, because they don't really give us the thing is, people born in 96 and 97, they really don't classify. Like, it's weird because some things you look at were millennials and some things you look at were Gen Z. I don't know what the fuck I am. I know I was old enough to somewhat remember 9/11, but at the same time, I was too young to remember some of the old school, like Nickelodeon and Disney channels. I only know them because of fucking reruns. Not reruns, reruns.
Yeah. And I can relate to some of that in some ways. Because like at 90, we're like kind of on the cuff with the, we still used VCRs and all that shit. And we saw it all switch. But then also another thing is like, for me, I don't have a lot of those memories growing up of a lot of the 90s toys and games and shows. Because I spent the entire time in the foster care system, right? And so it's really crazy for me is like a lot of times, even people my age will be like, "Oh, you remember doing this?" Like, no, sorry. Do you remember this toy, the Bop It? No.
Oh, man. See, I think I only remember or know some of the shit because of my older siblings. Because
they
like brought around.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's legit. And I'm the oldest of my siblings. And then I have a brother and two sisters. And and so my youngest sister was born, I think, in 96. So we're all very close in age. And then I have a brother who's a year younger and a sister who's 2 years younger.
Okay.
But we so I was the oldest. They definitely did get a lot of shows and stuff from me, and collectibles and toys and games and gadgets and stuff. When I was a teenager, I was adopted by my grandma and I was home when I was about 14. Started working at GameStop. That was pretty sweet, actually. I got beat up twice while working there too.
Wait, hold the fuck on. Wait, how? Hey, it's not because of the price you try to give them, like, cash or credit. It wasn't because
that was one of the times, actually. Well, that was actually one of the times. So here, I'll tell you both times. So time one, it was at a Halo 2 midnight launch. Very small teenager. I was a very small kid. So I wasn't really that small, but I was small, right? So they had me at the door, which is like, that makes sense, right? Well, I have the teenager instead of a full-grown freaking adult. So I'm at the door. There's a huge line. This guy just comes right to the front of the line. He's like, "I'm here to pick up my copy of Halo 2. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. Can you wait in line?" He's like, "You told me if I reserved it, I get it before anyone else who didn't also reserve it. Can you please wait at the back of the line?" And he's like, "You think you're funny?" And then punched me in the face and then tried to walk in the store like he was going to get his game. And then he didn't, obviously. He went to jail.
I'm about to say that's a fucking lawsuit.
Right? And I still stayed at work, right? And then so that same night, somebody came in with an Xbox 360 that red ringed. And they had bought it from us like 4 months ago or something. And I was explaining to them that, hey, unfortunately, this is a Halo 2 midnight launch. I can't do a return right now. Also, this is out of warranty or out of a return, so we can't. And he was like, yeah, but it still has a warranty. And I'm like, that's true. Microsoft will replace it for you. You know, you just got to give them a call, but I can't exchange it in store because, you know, it's outside of our return policy. He's like, bet, cool. You think you're funny? He didn't say bet because obviously that wasn't the thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he walks out the door. He walks out the door, turns around and throws his Xbox through the window. That was pretty cool. That wasn't the second time I got beat up. That just happened that night at Halo 2 midnight launch, because in Iowa, all people did was freaking smoke meth and drink alcohol and fight retail employees.
Sounds like bumfuck nowhere Kentucky, but yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. It was the bumfuck nowhere Iowa, and there's a meth town. So people were high on drugs, drunk, and they just love to fight too. So the second time somebody had came in and they at this time, GameStop still accepted like Game Boy Color games, and we even had DVDs, so we sold movies there as well, right?
Yeah.
And so this person came in, and so GameStop won't trade in anything that's new, so it has to all be opened, right? And they do that because they have to follow pawn shop laws, and they also don't want to risk something being stolen from one of the stores nearby. So, anyways, this guy came in with a stack of opened. He was aware like this is GameStop's policy, so he came in with a stack of DVDs, and they literally look like they came fresh off the Walmart shelves, right? Like he ditched the plastic in the parking lot type of thing, and they were all brand new movies that were $20 a piece, right, for the DVDs. So he brought in like 300 movies, and it would probably retail, I don't know, $1,000, probably $500 to $1,000 in movies or something like that. It was a crazy high amount. And then I was like, I can give you like $46. And like they gave nothing for DVDs. Like there were some DVDs they would give as little as 3 cents for. So this guy was like, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's what it is. He's like, oh, you're not joking. And he's like, well, you better raise that price right now, or I'm coming over the counter. And that dude was clearly tweaking. At this point, I realized this dude was tweaking. And I was like, man, I can't change any of the prices. I'm just, and before I could finish my sentence, over the counter, destroyed over the top of his DVDs, and was just pummeling me. It was so crazy. It was so fun.
Motherfucker. So, me being me, my last console I played before Xbox One, I got an Xbox One.
That's what I
was a PSP and a PlayStation 2. Like, that's what I fucked with. But once I got into football and it got serious, I stopped playing video games.
Yeah.
For you at GameStop, you were at a lot of openings and like new games and all that. Besides those 2 fucked up events,
there was more than that fucked up events that happened. I had so many fucked up events that happened there. GameStop is like the worst place in the world to work. But outside, I was a teenager, so I didn't really have to worry about a lot of those adult responsibilities. As an adult, GameStop is not somewhere where you're going to want to work. But anyway, as a teenager, you could check games out for 7 days. Even if they're brand new, you could break the seal, open the game up, take it home and play it, and then bring it right back and sell it brand new. So at 14, I had a job, which gave me money, which was cool because none of my other peers had that, right? And so I was able to check games out. And like you're saying, you know, for somebody who went into gaming, that's got to be great. And so like I got all the game consoles. My first game console was actually, you know, I had it when I was a kid. Like I had the Nintendo 64 and stuff. But you know, as a teenager working at GameStop, I had the original Xbox, and it was so cool because I think I modded it, and so this I think is what really gave Xbox the idea to go digital. Is that people were able to mod their Xboxes, and then they could take the Xbox games, copy them to the Xbox, and play them without the disc. And Xbox caught wind of that real fast, and they were like,
blew my fucking mind. Hold on, give me a second.
On the original Xbox,
I did not know that. What?
And mine was clear and glowed. I gave it a shell mod and everything. And so, as a GameStop employee, I could check games out and take them home, and and then I would have I literally had all of the games on my original Xbox. It was great.
I was a PlayStation kid, but it sounds like I should have went
So
Xbox.
PlayStation had an option to do something like that too for the PS2.
For real?
Yeah. So how you would do it is you would have to have one good PS2 game. It has to be like a legit game. So then you could download the games off of like LimeWire or uTorrent or whatever you were using. And then for educational purposes, so then you could burn it as an actual like PlayStation file. Like, you know how you would make an ISO file for Windows. So they had their own format. I don't remember what it was. So then you would have a special program to burn it to a blank disk, DVD RW, right? And so then you would be, so how it would work is you would take the lid off of it was only a certain PlayStation 2 it would work for. And it was the skinny black and gray one where it was this flat one at the top, open from the top, right?
Yes,
so
the slim.
So you could rip that piece completely off the slim, like just break it off. And then what you would do is you would start the PlayStation 2 regular game, and after the Sony boot logo happens, you would take it off the wheel while it's spinning and put on your burnt one, and it would work.
That's out. Where were you when I was like fucking 6 and 7 and shit?
PSP. I have a PSP that I gave away that you could put a Pandora battery in. It was a specialized battery that you ordered off the internet, and it would allow you to mod the PSP, and my PSP could play games the exact same way.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little jealous because
the 3DS does the same thing. The Switch will do the same thing as well. But it's like nowadays, like with Xbox and Game Pass, like everything's so cheap. It's like you don't even have to do that anymore.
Yeah, because I mean, $10 a month for a shitload of games. I'm not gonna. It's not that bad. Because like back in the day,
isn't. Like it's like literally is the best deal in gaming by far. And then like the thing is, if you I pay the 20 or whatever, and you have the Game Pass Ultimate, like you could literally download the Xbox app on your phone and attach your controller via Bluetooth, your Xbox controller to your phone, and be playing the games over cloud like you were on your Xbox. Like I joined a 32-man Halo match on my phone and was able to play it.
See, I can't say the name where I work because they'll fire me because they already told me that shit. But
yeah,
that's what the fuck I do in the semi truck.
Yeah, I do exactly that. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Game Pass Ultimate is like, how can you beat that? Like, you literally can have a Chrome, freaking Android freaking stick on your TV. Like, I have an NVIDIA Shield that I can play all of my Xbox games with the Xbox app right there. And now they added the Xbox cloud gaming features to the freaking Oculus. So you can pull up, so the Oculus Rift, the VR headset.
Yeah.
Oculus, Meta Oculus 2, which you can get for like $100 on Marketplace now. Like they've come way down in price. Like, the white one.
Mm-hmm.
Not the newest one, but the second edition.
And that's exactly what I got one of those too.
Yeah. So you could download the Game Pass app now on that, and you can connect your Xbox controller via Bluetooth to it and play it on a big screen in the Quest. Not Oculus Quest, yeah. And so like you could play it on the Quest. Isn't that crazy? Like you could be sitting in your semi with your Quest on, big screen TV, Xbox controller in hand, playing all of your Xbox games. And they said cloud gaming is coming to the rest of the games you own, not just Game Pass games, by the end of this year.
Yeah, I am happy we're talking right now because
like how could you like Sony and all of these companies can say whatever they want, but like I'm sorry, you guys are wrong. Like it's the best deal in gaming.
I see why Xbox did what they did with the whole. Then they like kind of like not partner with PlayStation, but kind of just like gave up their rights to certain games. So PlayStation.
Well, kind of. So like how all of this works, and I'm so up to date, and I follow all of these things when it comes to movies and tech and entertainment. And so, not really. I think Sony is going to be the first of. I think in our lifetime we will see Sony go bankrupt. I think Nintendo and Xbox will survive. And so here's the thing. Xbox, we'll start with Xbox. Xbox, I think it all started from the original Xbox when they saw XBMC and how people were able to use that. They incorporated a lot of those features into 360 when it launched already, right?
Yeah.
And people were telling them, nobody will ever go all digital. People want to be able to resell their games. And they're like, fine, how about we just give people all the games for free? They don't have to sell anything. They just play them for free. So anyway, so I think Xbox, then what they did and what they're currently do, Phil Spencer is the current CEO. They've moved away from Xbox as a hardware and Xbox as a brand, right?
Yeah.
So when you hear Xbox, you want to think games, Xbox console, Xbox controllers that I use with my PC, Xbox when I do PC gaming. They want it to be a brand. I could play Xbox on my NVIDIA Shield. I could play Xbox on my Android Android TV, right? Like on my TV, my television, I have a Bluetooth with Android TV installed on it.
because it's built into it. I have the Xbox app, and I can use a Bluetooth controller to play my Xbox games with all my saves right on my TV without even using a console, right? And so the great thing about that for Xbox is, the biggest thing with sales when it came to retail was getting people through the door, right? And so if you give people the ability to access Xbox everywhere, then everybody's in the door, right? And I think that's a brilliant plan. Now, Sony, on the other hand, so Xbox was the first to launch that cross-play with PC, right? And then Sony was like, no, we don't want to do that because we want to guarantee our users' experiences. And the users are like, we don't give a fuck. Just let us play cross-play. And they were like, no, 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 no. And then finally, after enough pressure, they allowed cross-play. And that was because people were like, we don't give a fuck, Sony, right? And then Nintendo allowed it almost immediately with Xbox. No questions asked. I wouldn't be surprised if the Xbox app doesn't come to Nintendo Switch in the future. I would be surprised if that doesn't happen. And so Nintendo, they're all about cooperation and play in some ways. But, each console has their different ability. And I think, they could have done it in a smarter way. In my opinion, I'm obviously not the CEO of Microsoft, and who am I, right? But in my opinion, I think every console had their niche and had their benefit. And so with Switch or with Nintendo, it's a way to interact and play your games in ways you can't anywhere else, honestly, right? Like, and then with Sony, what they had going for them is they really had something with that VR, right? Like they had something with the idea that they were the only console that offered that. But instead of actually investing in that, they lollygagged, and then the Quest came out, and everybody's like, why the hell do I want to play it on PlayStation? The Quest is better, And so then Microsoft, what they have going for them is they have like an ecosystem. The Xbox is an ecosystem. And the thing is, in America, you could buy a Blu-ray player for $300, or you can get an Xbox, right? And so for me, the Xbox is a great media center. And because it has like all of the streaming apps on it. It even has I'm losing my mind right now. You can use VLC player with it, and I'm losing my other mind. But anyway, long story short, Xbox overall has like a really just a great ecosystem. And I think, now when they added in Game Pass, like it's a tremendous value at this point. But Sony, they are usually the ones always dragging their feet, and they don't want to do anything because that's just not the way they've ever done it. And they are cooperating with Xbox in some ways, but I think that's mostly because they're realizing that they're a dying dinosaur. Their cameras and TV barely keep them afloat. The PlayStation is literally their bread and butter, and if that fails, then the whole thing fails.
Hell yeah, because the thing is, like, now that you're bringing this to my eyes and I'm seeing it and hearing it, honestly, Sony's doing shit ass backwards because they did at one point have something unique. The PSP, the PSP Vita, that was something.
Yeah. And now, what is that dumb shit that they're making, right? Like they have that thing for $300 so you can mirror your PlayStation screen only when you're with your PlayStation while it's on. Like, what the shit is that?
Yeah, and
why didn't they just invest in an app so you could play your PlayStation games on your phone like Xbox? Oh wait, that's because they want you to spend money on hardware, but nobody's buying that hardware.
No, hell no.
It's stupid, right? Nobody wants to spend money. And it's like they can say, oh, we have high fidelity, our games look amazing. Like, but do they look amazing enough that I'm gonna spend that much more? No. No, right? And so I think what Sony could have done is I think they still could maybe even be like the leader in like, VR. And how they could do that is, imagine if the PlayStation was like a backpack. With a battery pack, and then you could set it on your console and play it like a PlayStation, or if you go into VR mode, you can put on the PlayStation VR headset, throw your PlayStation on like a backpack, and now you have a VR that can process at the capabilities of a computer. You know what I'm saying? Without having to do 100 million things to make it work, right?
Yeah.
So I think $350 for it, and I can put it on like a backpack and use it for VR, and it'll be way better than a Quest. Bet, right?
Fuck it, because I'm not gonna lie, the VR for the PlayStation, I didn't care for it. It doesn't have that many games, and
Yeah.
two, it's fucking corded. Why the fuck do I
Yeah.
want a
And
corded
then the
VR?
second version is corded too. That's coming out.
And the controllers fucking suck.
Yeah, it's like it's because what they're trying to be is different, but different doesn't always mean better, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, and then so it's like, you know, Quest, in my opinion, I can tell you why I think Quest is failing so miserably right now. It's because, like, you know, Mark wants to say everybody wants to live in VR. You know, everybody wants to go in this immersive VR world, but there's no opportunity there, right? You know, you can get on it and pay $60 for a game that has 20 minutes worth of gameplay, like, and no replayability. Like, screw that shit, right? Why don't they make it easier for developers to develop content and develop things in there to create opportunity? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, imagine like how, you know, on TikTok you can make effects to make money. You could moderate to make money. Imagine they had a moderator position that paid you to be in VR, right? He has $1 bajillion. Invest them back into your goddamn stuff, right? So imagine they had a moderator position that like anybody could do and earn money by doing, right? Imagine they had stuff where like in decentralized in like crypto where they had like Decentraland, where like, for example, I could create an asset, upload it, and people could buy it for their house in VR, right? Like, oh, why don't you allow creators to make new bedrooms beside that stupid ass ugly one that's been there since it started, you know?
Yeah, it's
right? Like, why don't you allow developers in so that they can sell those types of assets on your marketplaces? And then people would use it. Know why? Because they can make money.
Yeah, because the thing is like VR, like
Right now, all it is a waste of time and money.
hell yeah, because I got VR when Meta was like beta. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the concerts fucking suck, the bedrooms suck, the avatars suck, everything about it fucking sucked. So I deleted the app, ended up playing like the same fucking games I played. And for example, like you said, Lightsaber, you know how much that costs on MetaQuest?
Damn much.
Just to fucking hit some fucking blocks?
It's like,
$40?
yeah, I was gonna say $40. It's nuts. And that's what I'm saying. The games are too expensive and they're not long. It's not worth it. And so the only way they're gonna solve that issue is make it a cheaper buy-in for developers, right? So right now they're just allowing these big studios to make all this stupid crap and trying to get an easy cash in, right? Whereas like I said, you know how I make those effects on TikTok. Imagine you could go into a marketplace and buy couches to put in your fucking VR bedroom, right? That has literally been the same VR bedroom since it started, or a house, or what open floor plan house it is, or whatever the crap it is with a window overlooking the ocean, right? And it's like, imagine if you had a marketplace that had where you could. The new one allows you to use your whole room to scale, right? You can walk around your whole house.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing. Like, you could play a gun game where it's using your house as the map. Like, legit, right? But like, imagine like they had a marketplace for developers like myself where I can make a couch for you and you can go in and pay $10 and you have a new couch now, a new bedroom, a new bed sheet set, I don't know, a new kitchen, right? Or a whole new room, right? And then they could take a cut, like they take 30% or something, 40%, and then I get 60%, right? Imagine somebody bought a whole room that you make in Blender, and then they buy it in there, and you know it costs like $300 or something. And then, like, you know, if they did simple things like that, like, and they opened the door for more people to be and create more opportunity, it would be successful. But right now, everything's too expensive, and it gives you a headache. It doesn't really give me a headache, but the prices do.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because when I first got the Vita, and I wish I would have just waited. When I got the Vita, I got the 125 gigabyte for $499.99. So I spent $500 for this shit just for the 125 gigabyte to be like $200 on Facebook Market.
Yeah, it's like that's how a lot of that stuff is. And so it's like now I just have my Xbox One. I have another Xbox One as well. I have the newest Xbox, the black one, the Xbox Series X or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also have an Xbox One. I had two, but I gave one gave one away, and then my daughter uses the other one now, and it's like hooked up right beside the other Xbox. So I have a huge TV, and beside it is a monitor with an Xbox hooked up to it, so you can like play together screen by screen.
Oh man, that brings back Call of Duty days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not Call of Duty. What am I thinking of? Halo.
Halo, do LAN parties on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
You can use LAN parties too, which is cool. And also, the original Xbox had the online, and that's really what set it off. You could like play online with the original Xbox. The PlayStation could too. The PlayStation 2. But there was only one game that ever actually had servers open, which was Phantasy Star Online. And
Phantasy Star Online. Wait, hold on, wait a
but
minute.
it was better on Xbox because you can mod. Because I had a modded Xbox, so I was running around as Sonic and Tails and stuff.
Whoa, yo,
Bowser and Mario. And people are like, "How the hell you do that?" I was like, "You have to beat the game."
oh man. You know what is one thing I love right now about this whole podcast is the love for games. And let me ask you this: if you had to pick your top 5 favorite games right now, what would it be?
Like right now.
Like just right now, because I know it'll change. Like next week, it could be different. But right
Yeah.
now, to this day, what would it be?
So like for me, a lot of times when I play, I'm like a solo player. So probably right now, the game that I'll play, I have the most hours into, is probably No Man's Sky. And then Skyrim, and like I would throw. You see, here's the thing: I am such a passionate person about so many things gaming, and it's like when the developers piss me off, I'll throw their games right out my list and quit playing them. Like I love Skyrim, I love Fallout. I've been playing this, before that, even when it was Morrowind. Before Bethesda even owned the Elder Scrolls series, I was playing Elder Scrolls, right? And so like I hate Todd Coward. He's a bitch. So now all of his games are no longer on my list, even though they secretly still are there. But No Man's Sky, I play that a lot because I'm very much a make an adventure type person, and when I play online, I have to play something that like has 100% of my attention, or if it doesn't have 100% of my attention, I have to be able to set the controller down. I have the worst ADHD. The fact I've been able to sit here for this long is blowing my mind. But yeah, so for me, No Man's Sky, definitely number one, just because it's a game I can always relax and play. In terms of, Skyrim, Fallout, Diablo. I love Diablo. I have all of them. I don't know. It's hard for me to say favorites. I'm not a big favorites person because I get so mad at the developers. Like I said, I would say some, Diablo, but God, Blizzard, you suck too. Screw you, Blizzard. Microsoft bought them, so I'm sure all the Blizzard stuff. Diablo 4 is already coming to Game Pass in like 2 weeks. So all the Blizzard stuff's coming to Game Pass soon. I'm pretty sure World of Warcraft will be included in Game Pass as well.
For real?
Frick yeah, Diablo 4 is coming like next week to Game Pass. And so Microsoft bought Blizzard. And so, so I'm like, think of how many people play World of Warcraft if they say the subscription is included and the games with Game Pass. Right? They be downloading it. And then they made it work on Xbox or something too. Like, they can't say that it's because of the controller. Like, Black Desert Online is on the Xbox. Give me a break. Right? But all these studios have all these things going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't even realize. Like, for example, Blizzard. You want here's some dirt with them is like, so their company has been under 3 federal investigations because of accusations of their CEO with workplace harassment, violence, sexual assault, right? Forcing people to get drunk, to impress people. 3 people came forward saying that he tried to inappropriately groom them, right? And all the employees have been on strike, people not working, like all kinds of issues, inner office turmoil going on with them, right? And then their board was basically just kept saying, hey, we're going to try to work it out with him. And their employees are like, what the hell are you on? We're going to work it out with him. What do you mean? And so then Microsoft bought the company, and guess what? He don't work there no more. So, you know, we might get some stuff there. And then Microsoft bought, you know, also bought Bethesda the year before that. And so, you know, Todd Howard got on stage before Microsoft bought them and was all like, you know, people were like, what about Elder Scrolls 6? What about Fallout 5? And he's like, we're not going to talk about any of that. We're going to talk about Game of the Year editions. And people are like, we don't want to hear that. And he's like, well, if you don't want us to keep making them, then quit fucking buying them. And then people are like, well, you know, we're not happy with that, right? And so he's been talking up Starfield like all this time too. And then I think, you know, I felt like Microsoft was gonna do to Bethesda what they had done to Lionhead Studios. And so we'll go on a quick side tangent here to say that Lionhead Studios developed Fable, right? Fable 1 and 2. And so the developer, Fable 3, and the developer's like, I want to develop Fable 4. And Microsoft's like, that's cool. However, nobody wants Fable 4. They want a MOBA based in the Fable universe. And he's like, nobody wants that shit. And they're like, great, you're going to develop it or you're going to get fired. And so they started working on this MOBA, right? And it failed miserably, never made it out of alpha. And the studio was shut down because of it. Then the developer's like, please, the guy who sold Lionhead Studios to Microsoft was like, please, just give me back Fable. I just want to make Fable 4. I don't care about anything else. And Microsoft's like, no. And so here's the thing. When Microsoft buys a studio and closes them down, a lot of people will think, well, why would they do that? That will lose them money. Or, you know, how is that possibly good for them? Well, the thing is they get to take all of the studio's assets, right?
Ooh.
That means all of the Fable armatures, 3D models, all the development, all the characters, all the assets, everything associated with that property is now with them, right? And so they can incorporate it in all their games and all their media, and they don't have to cut any of the original people back in on it, right? And so I think, anyway, Microsoft had went to Bethesda, and they're like, hey, you should start developing stuff in Unreal Engine 6. It'll be faster. It'll be quicker. You'll be able to get great games quicker for your people. This is my hypothesis. This is my theory. And then Bethesda's like, no, our in-house game engine is the best game engine ever. We developed it. And it's like, you haven't updated it in a decade. Your games look like shit. Right? Right? Shut the hell up. And then they're like, we aren't switching. Right? And so Microsoft's like, bet. And so my thought was they were going to do like they did with Lionhead, right? They're going to make them develop some stupid property that's going to be shit and cause their to go bankrupt, allowing them to close it down and take the assets. But then Todd Howard came in, right? And he's like, listen, Microsoft, I know you probably want me to develop something, but let me tell you about Starfield. It is the most ambitious, the greatest space game of all time. It's going to be the best space game ever, like no other space game, hugely the best, right? And then he's like telling about all this money he's spending on it, and he's showing them the portfolio. And there's actually a quote from him directly. Like I want to pull up. Let me pull up Todd Howard Starfield Microsoft pitch quote, because it's so cringe, it's so awful, and reflects on Starfield development. Here we go, perfect. I don't know where it is, but basically he goes on to talk about how he tells them about it, and they're like, this is a great idea. And I think, you know, ultimately what Microsoft heard was, well, first, Starfield sucks ass. I don't care what anyone says, fuck Starfield. And so I think they heard Todd Howard's pitch, and they took their folder that they had brought with them and threw it in the trash, because they're like, that's going to bankrupt them way fucking faster than our idea. And they're like, yeah, do it, man. Fucking do it. People are going to love you. And then he puts it out, and it sucks ass. You know, it was just terrible. I thought we were gonna get like something between Mass Effect 3 and No Man's Sky, but instead we got a shittier version of both games. Right? Like, why does this game need to exist? It was not good. I'm sorry. Starfield is not good. I would stick to Star Citizen if I really want like a real space simulator that feels real and graphically amazing. But yeah, Bethesda sucks. I'm sorry. And then Blizzard with Diablo is pissing me the fuck off too.
I still haven't played it yet, but I thought about playing it, but I don't know now.
So here's the thing. Have you played the other ones?
I've played Diablo 1 and 2.
Okay, perfect. You'll love Diablo 4. Perfect.
Okay.
You're fine. You're fine. You'll love Diablo 4. For me, as somebody who has played every single game and have multiple characters maxed and have like a practically maxed out Paragon level in the last game, it doesn't really feel any different. It feels like they gave me horses and jumping, and it's like, who cares? Right? Okay. And so I was hoping, like, they gave you a couple new classes, but none of them feel widely different than Diablo 3. Even the playstyle of the newest class, which is the shapeshifter guy, which is who I picked, because he was the most widely different from the last game, still plays like a mage, right? And then so I was just like, I'm really salty that Diablo Immortal, the mobile game, has a class called a vampire that's new. And then Diablo 4 launches a campaign called The Trial of Blood, about killing vampires, and they never gave us the vampire class from the mobile game to the actual fucking Diablo 4, so we can have an actually truly different playable class. So I'm just salty. But as somebody who's never, if you didn't play Diablo 3, you'll love Diablo 4 because, you know, it's darker than Diablo 3. It feels more like Diablo 2, and you have none of those countless hours of grinding under you to base your opinion off of. For me, it feels like I'm playing the last game, but with horses and jumping.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm kind of excited now, but you know what?
It's coming to Game Pass for free. So I do.
But you know what?
Tell
I'm
me,
gonna say this. You are the longest podcast I've had on this episode, and I'm loving every single bit of it.
I will talk all night.
But we've hit that end mark.
I hear you, buddy.
And one thing I love to do is I want to ask you a number between 1 and 15, and whatever you pick is going to be a random question for you to end the podcast.
8.
8? Okay, number 8 is, where's your favorite place in the world?
Japan. I would love to go to Japan.
You know what? I'm liking you more and more the more we speak, because I want to go to Tokyo.
I watch more anime than you can imagine too. It's not just because I'm a weebo. I do like the food. It's just, the thing is, when you describe why you want to go to Japan, it doesn't help you sound any less like a weebo. So it's just like, I want to go to the temples. I want to go see the mountains. I want to go to the ramen shops. I want to go to it's like, that's all weebo activity. Like, their whole culture is like weebo activity, but I just want to go there for weebo activity.
I feel that completely, because I watch anime too. I am watching Attack on Titan right now. I'm on season 4. I didn't watch Attack on Titan at all because I wanted to be done, and now I'm on season 4, and I'm loving every bit of it.
Oh, it's good. I'm watching Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix. It's pretty funny.
I'm not gonna lie, I seen that and I put it in my list. Is it worth watching?
Yeah, it's good. It's great. It's pretty good. I like it. I'm up to date. Every Thursday when it comes out with the episode, I'm on there like, I need to see this. I'm telling you, if I go to Japan and you're there at the same time, you're gonna know who I am. You're gonna be like, that asshole with the 30 waifu pillows, I know him. He's like, that jackass. Like, how is he even carrying that many? Why does he have them taped to his back? This is unnecessary. You can't even take those back with you on the plane.
Hey, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. We might be matching. I'm not gonna lie. But is there anything you want to shout out for the podcast? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. Today I found out we have hit our second national listener, as in we have listeners in Australia, and I have listeners in the UK now.
No, that's legit. That's so awesome. No, just check out my book, A Boy with 1,000 Masks. Check out my art. I have an art playlist, so if you like to buy art, I sell art too that I did make. And check out my TikTok. I argue with boomers. It's really hilarious and unhinged.
Oh yeah, y'all heard it here. That was another episode with Ali, and I think this might have been my favorite one. I'm sorry, Sierra. I'm sorry, James. But I'm just gonna be honest. I think it's been my favorite one. But how do I end this? Oh yeah, that's right. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know where you are, but y'all have a great day.